Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-hosts.
Dominic. Just Dominic.
Alright, so we're back. We took a week off just because school. There was a lot to do. But other than that, we're back. How have you been, Dominic?
I've been pretty good. A little stressed out, but so far, so good.
That's good too.
Yeah, I mean, nothing has been pretty much happening so far. Except I've been losing money in stocks, so I guess that's a bad thing. But, I mean, I knew I was going to be losing money in the first place.
You're not going to the moon?
Not anymore. But apparently, now this is like some like out of topic news, but like you know how the GameStop stock market is like dipping really low.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's been like restrictions placed on it. So if there was no such thing as these restrictions on this stock, we would all be technically millionaires.
Mm.
But everyone's pretty much losing millions of dollars at this point. So I'm pretty much not the only one. But I'm still going to hold my money.
Okay.
How about you, Jack?
I'm holding up as well. Dealing with a little bit of a sickness, I guess you could say. Other than that, I've been holding up in school. Trying my best to just keep going.
Yeah. Speaking about school, if let's say next year or next year once you enter your sophomore year of college, they begin to open up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say like the vaccine were to be more widely distributed among individuals, and they were to open back campus so that you could live in dorms. Would you do it, or would you rather stay home?
I'd honestly rather stay home.
I see. Why? Because you're accustomed to it, or you just don't want to pay the prices?
I don't want to pay the prices.
Oh yeah.
Because if I were to move on to campus, I would pretty much have to go into debt. Whereas if I commute, simple, easy, and I get extra money.
Oh, I like that. Speaking of the extra money, I think I've been looking into the future for too long now. But with the money I've been given from the Berkeley people, I could literally buy a house. With the money I've saved up, along with my work money, but I could literally buy a house. If you, Jack, how would I say this? When would you plan to move out and buy your own apartment or home?
Whenever I can afford it.
And when do you see that time coming?
I don't know, honestly, because it seems really hard to find jobs nowadays.
That's true.
But I honestly would say I'd expect it to be as soon as I got a job, because my whole plan is to, take care of my parents,
Yeah.
And for the most part, by the time I get a job, both my mom and dad should still be working, so add my income onto that, and if my brother decides to live with us as well, that's a fourth income, That should be enough to get either a house or... Have you heard of townhouses?
Yes.
There's also that my dad was talking about, maybe doing that, because those are pretty cool as well. What about you?
For me, well, I'm not thinking of living here in Los Angeles specifically. I'm pretty sure. I think you already know that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was speaking about houses, I've been meaning houses in Japan, because why not? And I've been looking at the markets, right? and I've been seeing like these huge, crazy houses, like crazy, like, with like extra storage space, like, and like plots of land for like $8,000, $5,000.
Hmm.
And like there's not just like one property; it's like many properties. Like, I mean, sure, they are pretty much abandoned. The properties that I've been looking at are abandoned properties in which the owner hasn't lived there in quite a while, so they put it up for auction or for sale.
Hmm.
But since, how do you call it? No one wants to live in the countryside, right? And everyone wants to live, in Tokyo, and those big crazy, electric cities. The prices pretty much just start dipping down because they need buyers, or else these places are just going to rot away.
Hmm.
And so these prices have gone like really low. Like usually, a house would cost like around 100,000, 200,000, US dollars, but they've gone down to like the price of a vehicle.
Hmm.
Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen like a YouTuber buy it. Like, he moved out of like his parents' home, moved to Japan, and bought his own house like at 19 for like around 10,000.
Hmm.
Like, that's a crazy milestone at a cheap price too. I mean, the only problem is that
Getting
you're gonna have
accustomed
pay
to the
extra.
life.
What?
Getting accustomed to the different lifestyle.
That's true. Yeah, that too. Definitely, being a foreigner in a different country, you have to get along with the language, the culture, the lifestyle. But I mean, it's kind of like buying an old house. It's the same thing like buying an old car. You're probably gonna spend more money than it was originally worth.
Yeah.
Like with maintenance and like adding in new furniture and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You also got to make sure you actually find a stable job out there before you move out there.
I'm not sure what to do. I mean, I've just been looking at homes, but I haven't even thought about like finding a job in different regions other than here.
Yeah.
Because I was barely able to find a little part-time job, but at a different region, small chances.
You also got to make sure that whatever qualifications you get here in the States transfer over. Because you know how it's like with the U.S., you see a lot of people get like degrees and stuff in like other countries, but then when they come here, they like have to do like different testing.
Yeah.
Like you can't just essentially be a doctor in another country and then come to the U.S. and immediately get a job as a doctor. You got to go through like further testing and stuff.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure whatever you go into that your qualifications also transfer over. This is if and when you plan to move.
Yeah, I believe. I don't think like once you like try to like apply for a work visa. I think especially in Japan, I don't think they really care what you degree in, what you have a degree in, as long as you at least have a 4-year degree from a university.
Mm.
So like let's say you want to apply for a teacher, right? Like they don't care if you have a PhD. They don't care if you have a bachelor's. They don't care if you applied in business or economics or in English or as long as you have a degree and at least sort of know the language a bit, they pretty much give you any like possible job. Or like in teaching, mostly they take a lot of foreigners into teaching as their first job.
Yeah, especially because they need them to teach
English.
That's the main thing that they have a lot of foreigners teach over there.
But how do you call it? Work over there is like super stressful.
Yeah.
Like people like leave home like around like from 8 to 9 to 11 at night. Like usually here in America it's like from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But like I think over there like the work culture is super terrible in terms that if you leave at like let's say you're meant to leave at work at 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know that you want to stay there in order to like impress your boss, because that's the whole point. Because the reason why they stay longer is so that they don't seem lazy and that they just want to leave home just because it's already time. They usually want to stay because they want to impress someone else.
Mm.
That just accumulates, hours, and it just gets stressful. But yeah, pretty crazy. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about how stressful, like especially in Asian cultures, that like the job culture is. Uh,
Yeah.
Personally, me, I don't think I could do all those long hours, but who knows, I mean, one of the big reasons people do work long hours is because of the money.
That's true.
Let me ask you this, Don. I talked about getting accustomed to a different culture. Would you be able to get accustomed to the different types of food out there?
I would say I would probably have trouble doing so because in different regions of the world, I think America, aside from every like different regions, America is has the biggest food platter, and everyone else serves smaller portions.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
I mean, that's why most of the other countries are healthier.
Exactly.
But not only that, don't forget America, and more notably California and Los Angeles, where we're located at, it's essentially a mixing pot of a bunch of different cultures where you can find a bunch of different foods from different cultures, where who knows if you're going to be able to find that out in different countries.
That's true. I've heard. I think there was this video on YouTube where there's this Mexican taco stand, in Japan or something like that.
I wonder how different that would be from the ones out here.
Yeah, exactly.
But so speaking of food, Don, today's topic: 3 questions that all surround the general topic of food. What question do you want to start with first? Or first off, let the listeners at home know what our 3 topics are, or what our 3 questions are about food.
Yeah. Okay. So the first topic here is: if you were to be placed in death row at prison, what would be your final meal? The second question being: what is the weirdest food combo that you enjoyed? And the last one is a food experience that a food experience that you never had a negative experience with.
Yeah.
A food you never had a bad experience with.
Yeah. So which one do you want to start with first?
I think the death row.
All right. So, give a general description for people who've never heard of this. Even though I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, but let them know.
Yeah. So, okay, although I don't believe it's widely legal around the world, death row pretty much is that if a specific criminal does horrible, horrible crimes, murders, bunch of bad stuff. If it gets to the point where, a life sentence wouldn't seem enough, it gets to the point where they are put into the death row, which is where they are sentenced to pretty much death. Back then, the electric chair was a really, large, popular way, to go out. But these days, we've gone to more humane treatments, such as lethal injection.
Humane, yes.
Although still you're dying, it's more. I think it's better than being electrified and having your brain fried.
True.
Did you know that in the electric chair they actually throw 3 injections into you?
Do they actually?
Yeah, I think the first one's to paralyze you. The second one is to numb you down, so that you wouldn't feel the pain, and the third one's to just kill you. Because the third one was meant to cause an intense seizure, but since you're paralyzed, you can't move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I believe that's how.
Explain the whole last meal thing.
And so but before they get killed, what happens is that the prisoner is given the choice of eating whatever they want to their heart's content before they die. So they would pretty much offer a request to the guards and such to eat whatever they want, whatever. It literally could be anything, or it could be nothing. It could be some sort of joke type of request.